Now, there ain't going to be much of you in here because this is a live broadcast and it's late at night. And I hope everybody can hear me. Um, so, as you know, I'm with the Yellow Jackets movement in Canada. And I received some disturbing news. Okay, I'm gonna let you hear this news, and then I'm gonna go into it afterwards. Okay, but I'm gonna let you hear what this is, and it's from the let's see now, Linda Steele show, the Linda Steele show. Um, Bernard Hancock versus Yellow Vest protest in Canada. So I'm going to let you hear this, read through, and we'll talk about it after you hear this crap. And crap it is.
That's Bill. His small business has a ton of data that
Just
needs
a minute.
protecting. So how's he sleeping when a cyber attack could happen at any time?
Smart security.
Yeah, smart
Commercial.
security from Shaw Business keeps his data safe behind an enterprise-grade firewall.
Auto updates.
Mm-hmm. It even keeps itself up to date to prevent the latest malware.
I love you too, Space Alien.
Well, let's leave him to it.
Smart security from Shaw Business. Leave data protection to us. This is the Linda Steele Show on demand. Subscribe now on iTunes and listen weekdays 2 to 6 on 980 CKNW and on the Radio Player Canada app.
All right, this is going to be interesting because we've been talking this hour about the Yellow Vest protesters. And a few days ago, I interviewed a young radio reporter from Kamloops who was getting death threats from some Yellow Vest protesters who were angry about the fact that he was sort of saying that they didn't have a right to be, making death threats against the Prime Minister. Anyway, that led me to my next guest who is going to steal the show. His name is Bernard Hancock. His nickname is Bernard the Roughneck, and he works in the Alberta Oil Patch. He is in our 630 CHED Edmonton studio, and he joins me now. Hey, Bernard, thanks for doing this.
Linda, how you doing?
Now, I'm doing great, and you're a smart, articulate guy, and you've been right in the throes of things there and the frustration with people who are out of jobs. And I'm going to let you take over the mic for several minutes here and just express how you feel about these militant Yellow Vest folks hijacking the legitimate protest movement. Take it over.
Well, thanks, Linda. First of all, I just want to say hello to everyone out there in Vancouver, my hometown. I love the 604, but we're up here in Alberta, and yeah, things are very tough. And there's people who are angry right now. And there's good reason for them to be angry. It's understandable that they're angry. But people need to be able to vent that anger and have an ability to turn that anger into something positive. Because anytime you see anger, there's people who come in and take that anger and monetize it or use it for nefarious political purposes. Now, you know what happened to that man, that radio show host in Kelowna? That's unacceptable, but, I mean, it's the biggest compliment that you can get when you get death threats. I get them all the time, because it says that you're making people angry because you're a threat and you're doing something right. But I just say that it's unacceptable. Of course, phone the police, but at the same time, never let that intimidate you. And with the Yellow Vest people, okay, here's the deal. We had a convoy going to Ottawa. It was about pipelines, and it was organized by some very professional people with Canada Action and Rally for Resources. Now, I don't speak on their behalf, but you heard that it was canceled, and it's so frustrating because in Alberta right now, we're really suffering. And even here in Edmonton, I don't think people see it, because up in Grand Prairie, where I live, the service side of the industry is just decimated. People, I mean, I'm a single guy. I can't imagine what it'd be like to have a mortgage or a family that you got to support in this type of economic climate. And it feels like people just ignore you and they don't care because your vote can't make a difference. They have no intention of trying to get your vote. And that's a big problem because people get upset. And we had a rally in Grand Prairie and it was awesome. It was grassroots. We organized it. And Yeah, there's a few yellow vest people, but it was organized by legitimate people. We had people from political parties from both sides, the NDP and the UCP. And here in Alberta, our NDP is responsible and supports clean Canadian energy that gives people jobs that give them dignity and good pay. And I hope the NDP can move forward in this issue and get back to the working class roots. But anyways, there were some yellow vest people, but it gained a lot of momentum. There were 5,000 people in a 55,000 person town. And then we had Nisku with like thousands of trucks. It was amazing, and it gave people hope. But as soon as that happened, before we were able to get our GoFundMe going so people could support us and jump on board and help us with our convoy to Ottawa, there were some people with the yellow vest who set up a GoFundMe that was very ambiguous. And unfortunately, Dr. Jordan Peterson mistakenly retweeted it. So it reached a very large audience, and they had $60,000 right away. Now, you go to these yellow vest protests, and, you know, I'm not going to accuse everyone in the yellow vest movement of racism or ignorance. I think they're naive and gullible. But I don't think they're bad people. But who is bad people is some of these groups, maybe the 10% that are racist. Soldiers of Odin, nationalist groups, and even people you see, it's like hang Trudeau or Trudeau for treason. Like, it's unacceptable to be talking like that. And I understand why some people are upset, because I remember when Mr. Harper, people said things like that about him, and no one ever called them out on it. Even Dr. David Suzuki, who's much like these leaders of the Yellow Vest people, he doesn't deal in facts, he doesn't deal in truth, and he manipulates people based on emotion and monetizes it. I mean, this is a very rich man with 4 homes, and I mean, who flies around in jets, so you gotta question his credentials of lowering his own carbon footprint. But he said Mr. Harper deserves to be locked up, and this is a problem with this type of discourse, because when you're talking like this is why our rally, I believe our convoy, our legitimate pipeline convoy, was canceled. Because when we're trying to change hearts and minds, and I'm so happy to see the people in Vancouver start to realize that pipelines are the way, and that they'd rather have pipelines than rail cars traveling down the side of the Fraser River, that they'd rather have gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel that come from Alberta rather than the Puget Sound, which, by the way, if you build this pipeline, your gas price could be a little bit cheaper. I can't believe your gas prices. It's like 90 cents up here. But yeah, and it's just so frustrating because this is an issue that's so important. And but with Yellow Vest, there's no singularity of strong leadership who's a professional who knows how to get proper mainstream media coverage, real politicians getting behind our movement. And this thing could have been something. But the Yellow Vesters, they wanted to schedule, they said, we want to work with you. And we're like, absolutely not. You guys are crazy. But they refused. They scheduled a convoy for the same date as us. And as well, like, a lot of people, I got emails from people that donated to the Yellow Vesters and said, oh man, I thought I was donating to your pipeline convoy. And these are desperate people. And they gave their last bit of money to these Yellow Vesters. And if there's one person you don't pick on, it's someone weaker than yourself. And so it frustrates me in a way. But there's another side to this issue, and I don't want to be disrespectful of the media. But at the same time, when you raise concerns that, say, the Yellow Vesters have about migration or, things like that, and you just get called a racist and a xenophobe and alt-right Nazi, as some of our members of our federal government have been talking about, and people don't have a media to call that out and give these people an outlet to speak these issues that are important and are legitimate, that's when the wolves come in. That's when the extremists come in and they take over and they monetize that, but they don't have a solution. Because these Yellow Vest organizers, I'm serious, they'd rather Trudeau gets elected again. So they have 4 more years to stomp their feet and complain and bring attention to themselves and build their base.
All right, Bernard Hancock, Bernard the Roughneck, good job. Congratulations to you. Thank you so much for taking it, Mike. While you were speaking, Fred emailed me, and I just want to read this to you to get your thoughts before we go to the break. He says, no sympathy for me. Alberta should have diversified its economy while the going was good. Also, Albertans lived like oil sultans while the tar sands were being exploited. He says the province and its inhabitants should have saved up instead of buying quads and campers and collecting no taxes. What do you have to say to Fred?
You're ignorant. It's very frustrating because people, it's like they think that money just drops in your lap and this is a land of milk and honey. And they don't realize people like me are away from my family. and in camps for 21 days straight with 3 days off after, and working 15, 16-hour days. We worked very hard for these things. And the other thing is that prosperity, you people in Vancouver and across Canada benefit from that. So it's just frustrating because what it comes down to is envy, and you can even tell he's not legitimate because he uses the term tar sands.
Right.
It's bituminous oil sands. And talking about diversifying, yeah, that's true. But are you going to blame Albertans like me who are working class people? And when we've been hurting for 3 years and these people want to hurt us more and all we want is a job, it's nothing personal. And the other thing is he's out of touch. Public opinion, most people have common sense and know that Canadian oil and gas is the cleanest in the country, or sorry, in the world. We have the highest environmental standards, and pipelines are a way to continue that progress. And he probably uses oil every day. He probably eats his own, drives a car.
Probably does.
So the hypocrisy in people like that, I mean, maybe you should stop listening to the quote-unquote subjective statements of opinion that Greenpeace provides and actually look into the facts. So thanks, Fred. Thanks, buds.
You know what? I have a lot of sympathy for the folks that are in Alberta, and I have never seen them so angry. And people say, oh, yeah, we know where you say you're from Alberta. I said, you know what? Being formerly from Alberta gives me perspective. So, Bernard, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. And good luck to you, okay? Thank you for listening to the Linda Steele podcast. Be sure to rate, review.
Well, you heard it for yourselves, people. The Yellow Vest movement is a terrorist organization or whatever they want to try and paint us out to be there. That's a lot of bullshit. That's a lot of bullshit. So, I'm not even gonna comment on, what the fuck, with that. I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself. It's a lot of bullshit. And that's the kind of rhetoric that these guys are trying to come up with because their little convoy didn't get going down the road. You know what I mean? And ours did. And then he's jealous over the fact that, well, we put up our stuff first because we're not behind the ball here. We're on point, as to what's going on in the whole bit. And hey, you can't knock a guy for being first, okay? They tried to hijack our fucking convoy, okay, is what happened, or what was going on there. They tried to hijack our fucking thing, and that didn't work. So, tit for tat, boys. Talk shit about us. We could talk shit about you. I think the main thing, though, is for everybody to come together and stand united and quit coming up with the bullshit about what Yellow Vest is, because you have no clue. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and waste my time telling you, because it's all over my YouTube channel. Go check it out, what we're here for. Okay? I just find it very ignorant that people would say stuff like that when they don't know what they're talking about, okay? And they're jealous over the fact their little convoy didn't get to go to Ottawa. Well, I got news for you, buddy. You're still welcome to join the Yellow Vest convoy, okay? Nobody's stopping you. So put your money where your fucking mouth is and get with the program and save Canada and stand united with the rest of the Canadians, instead of sitting up on a fucking fence post and bitching, because that's all you're gonna do, is sit there and bitch about fucking bullshit. Anyway, that was my 2 cents. Anyway, I've left a message with this little broadcaster who thinks that by putting out this kind of bullshit, that it's not gonna get addressed. I intend to address it and straighten out some facts, because not to my knowledge has anybody given anybody any death threats except for the guy in Ontario, in Ottawa, who was with a white supremacist group before putting on a yellow vest, and he threatened to shoot the Prime Minister. That's the only one I know of, okay? I don't know of any other fucking death threats that this guy's talking about, okay? So I'll look into that. But on the other hand, we're not a violent and militant movement. We're a peaceful demonstration, okay? We're built up of all the citizens of this country, all right? For you to put yourselves over the rest of Canada, I say shame on you, buddy, okay? You can sit there on the fucking fence line and stay there. I don't really give a fuck, okay? But we're out to fix this fucking country. And if you don't want to fix it, then you're part of the fucking problem. And as far as I'm concerned, this guy can stay home because I don't need him, okay? Or anybody like him. Talking like that is talking against other Canadians. He can take his opinion and stay home, okay? So I got no use for that kind of shit, you know, and nobody else does. And I'm not buying the smokescreen, okay, that this kind of rhetoric puts out. And I will be talking to this reporter, okay, very soon, tomorrow, as a matter of fact, and straighten out what's going on here because she has no clue. And that guy's painting a bullshit story, and that's all he fucking came out with was a bunch of bullshit. And she bought right into it because that's not what's going on. We're fighting a corrupt government, okay? And until you solve this fight, this corrupt government issue, there's nothing else that matters because we stand to lose our country. That's a little more important than your fucking pipeline, okay? Our civil rights are more important than everything in this fucking country as far as any other protests. This Yellow Jacket protest subsumes everything. And if you think it doesn't, then find out what the protest's about first before you go beaking off like this guy. You know, if we don't save the country by correcting this corrupt government's bullshit, then we're right back at square one again, where they're doing what they want to do in government and the rest of the people in the country are fucked. That's not the way to have a country, okay? Not Canada, all right? Canada is supposed to be a democracy, and it's not a democracy right now because of a hijacked government, okay? Now stop and take a look around and stop playing with your fucking thumb up your ass and making up all kinds of fucking excuses for this and that and this and that and all the rest. You know, time to get up and fucking stand up and fucking be a Canadian, you know, and fight for the rest of the Canadians in this country. That's what being in the Yellow Jackets movement is, okay? It's not for your sole purpose of a pipeline or any other goddamn sole purpose. Right now, we're fighting for the country, okay? And if we don't fight for this country, we may as well kiss it all goodbye because it ain't gonna fucking matter more 2 cents anyway. Anyway, sorry I got a little upset, but I just get upset over this kind of fucking bullshit when somebody talks shit about the Yellow Jackets and they don't know what they're talking about. And he's a little pissed off because he didn't get his way with his little convoy. He didn't get, you know, all the publicity his little convoy was going to create by going to Ottawa. You know, stupidity. Buddy, I tell you something. If you want to be a Canadian, join the convoy anyway, okay? You're more than welcome to do it, all right? Nobody's stopping you, okay? Nobody's stopping you from getting in the protest. So put your money where your mouth is, all right? Everybody's welcome on that convoy. There's nobody being turned down. If they can squeeze them in, they're going to get them in, okay? It's unity. And if you can't be a unity kind of guy, like stand up with the rest of your Canadians, then we don't need you, okay? Anyway, that's my 2 cents, guys. Until next time, it's me getting the word out there. And do stay in touch and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have a GoFundMe page over on Facebook if you want to help out. And I do 2 shows a day now live on Facebook. So I'm either on Facebook or I'm on YouTube or Instagram, LinkedIn. There's a few other things. So you'll find me. We're very committed to this movement, and it stands for righteousness. It stands for every Canadian in this country. Okay? So when you're putting on a Yellow Jackets movement protest jacket, do it with pride, because you're not a racist movement. You're not a violent movement. You know, we're not a militant movement, whatever that is. We stand for peace, and we stand for Canada. Okay? And we stand for every Canadian civil right in this country. And if you lose your civil rights, you got fuck all. Okay? You're just a slave. You're nothing. And that's not the way I want to be. So that's why we're in the fight for our lives for this country. Okay? So grow up, grab a set of balls, and put on a yellow jacket. Until next time,